Picture this, you need a car. You go to a dealership. A friendly person shows you several vehicles. You find one you like. You cannot pay for it in cash because it costs more than most people's annual salary. So you finance it, meaning you take out a loan and pay it back monthly. You drive home in a new car feeling pretty good about life. This is so normal and how everybody does it. Did it strike you that you just sign up to pay 20% more than the sticker price for your car? Because nobody pulls out a napkin and does the real math on what that car will cost over its full life. Nobody asks the question that, if asked clearly and answered honestly, would change the decision for a meaningful percentage of the people making it. Here is the question many people ask: can I afford this monthly payment? No. The question to ask is, what is this car actually going to cost me, and what else could that money have done? The average monthly payment on a new car reached $767 in the fourth quarter of 2025, according to Experian data. Total auto loan debt across all Americans hit $1.68 trillion at the end of 2025, a 37% increase since 2018, according to Federal Reserve Bank of New York. More than 20% of people financing a new car in early 2026 agreed to monthly payments of $1,000 or more per Edmunds. 1 in 5 people paying over $1,000 a month for a car. Today we are doing the math nobody does at the dealership. Not saying you should never to buy a car, you probably need one, but to make sure that when you sign the paperwork, you know exactly what you are signing. Because the car payment trap is not about any single bad decision. It is about a system of individually reasonable seeming choices that, stacked together, quietly drain wealth that could have been building something else. Let's start at the very beginning, because understanding the mechanics is what makes everything else in this conversation make sense. When you cannot pay for something in cash and you borrow money to buy it, the lender charges you for the privilege of using their money. That charge is called interest, and it is expressed as an annual percentage rate, APR. Every month you have the loan outstanding, you owe interest on whatever balance remains. Here is the critical thing that most first-time car buyers do not fully understand. In the early months of your loan, almost all of your payment is interest, not the car itself. On a $43,000 car loan, roughly the current average for a new vehicle, at 6.9% APR over 68 months, your monthly payment is approximately $768. In the first month of that loan, approximately $247 goes to interest, and about $521 actually reduces what you owe on the car. That is 1/3 of your payment going to the bank before you have made a dent in the actual vehicle balance. Over the life of that same loan, 68 months, nearly 6 years, you will pay approximately $9,800 in interest alone on top of the vehicle's purchase price. The $43,000 car cost you closer to $52,800 by the time you own it outright. And that is at a reasonable credit tier with a reasonable interest rate. For borrowers with lower credit scores, some consumers pay interest rates over 18%, which could cost $14,000 in interest alone on a $30,000 car over a 6-year loan. This is not a scam. This is how borrowing money works. But it needs to be understood clearly, because every advertisement you see for a car tells you the monthly payment. Almost none of them prominently display the total cost. Interest is the first way the car costs more than its sticker price. Depreciation is the second, and it happens faster than almost anyone expects. Depreciation is the loss of value that happens to an asset over time. Cars depreciate faster than almost any other major purchase a person makes, and the drop is most severe right at the beginning. The average new car loses approximately 20% of its value in the first year of ownership. On a $43,000 vehicle, that is $8,600 gone, not because anything broke, not because you drove it unusually hard, but simply because it is no longer new. Within 5 years, the average new car has lost roughly 60% of its original value, meaning that $43,000 vehicle is now worth approximately $17,000 on the open market. You borrowed $43,000 at interest. You are still paying it down slowly. And the asset you bought is worth $17,000. This gap where you owe more on a car than it is currently worth has a name: being underwater on your loan or having negative equity. A record number of car owners in 2026 are upside down on their loans, meaning they owe significantly more on the vehicle than its current market value, a problem that carries over to their next car purchase. Here is what carries over means in practice. You want to trade in your car, but you owe $18,000 on a vehicle worth $14,000. The dealership does not absorb that $4,000 gap as a gift. They roll it into your new loans. You are now starting your next car loan $4,000 deeper in debt than the new car's actual price, a practice sometimes called being perpetually underwater, where each trade-in resets the clock with a higher starting balance than the car itself is worth. This is not an edge case. It is a routine feature of the American car buying cycle that most people have never had explained to them clearly. Here is where the psychology gets very intentional, and where most people's financial instincts get successfully redirected. When you sit down to negotiate a car purchase, the natural human instinct is to focus on the monthly payment. Can I afford $600 a month? It feels like the right question. It is not the right question. It is the question the dealership wants you asking, because it is the question that gives them the most flexibility to structure a deal that maximizes what they earn while keeping you nodding yes. Here is how this works. If the conversation is about monthly payment, a salesperson can make any car feel affordable by extending the loan term. More than 22.9% of new car loans at the start of 2026 had a term of 7 years or longer, 84 months or more. 7 years. An 84-month loan on a vehicle that will have depreciated by 60% to 70% before the loan is even finished. You will still be paying for this car when it is worth almost nothing, and you will have been paying interest on it the entire time. The right question is not, can I afford $600 a month? The right question is, what will this vehicle cost me in total, purchase price plus total interest paid over the life of the loan? And does that number make sense compared to what I could buy used for cash or with a much shorter loan term? A good rule of thumb from financial planners is to spend no more than 10% of your take-home pay on a car loan payment. On a $60,000 after-tax income, $5,000 per month take-home, that means a maximum car payment of $500 per month. The average new car payment of $767 per month exceeds this guideline for most middle-income households. People are routinely committing to car payments that financial best practices explicitly recommend against, in amounts determined by what the monthly payment looks like on a 6 or 7 year loan, rather than what the vehicle actually costs. The loan payment is the number everyone sees. It is not the only number. People don't look at the full cost of car ownership, and it's the number nobody calculates. Car ownership comes with a collection of ongoing costs that, when added together, make the true monthly cost of driving significantly higher than the payment alone. This total is called the total cost of ownership, and for the average new car in 2026, it is eye-opening. Insurance. The average cost of full coverage car insurance is about $225 per month in 2026. On a new financed vehicle, lenders require full coverage. You cannot carry minimum coverage on a car you do not yet fully own. Add $225 to your $767 payment, and you are already at nearly $1,000 per month before the car has moved. Fuel. At the current national average of approximately $3.50 to $4.50 per gallon, depending on your state, and assuming 1,000 to 1,500 miles per month, fuel costs run approximately $150 to $250 per month for a typical vehicle. Maintenance and repairs. New cars need oil changes, tire rotations, and eventually brakes, tires, and other wear items. The American Automobile Association estimates average maintenance and repair costs for a new vehicle at approximately $100 to $150 per month. Registration and taxes. Depending on your state, annual registration fees on a new vehicle can run $200 to $800 per year. Call it $30 to $65 per month. Total cost to own a new average car per month in 2026, approximately $1,250 to $1,450 per month, including payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and registration. On a $60,000 annual income, that is 25% to 29% of after-tax income consumed by a single vehicle. For a two-car household, that math doubles. This is the number nobody calculates before saying yes at the dealership. It is also the number that explains why so many households that are not low-income feel financially squeezed in ways they cannot fully account for. The car payment looks manageable. The car does not. We have now established what a car costs. Now let's establish what that money could do differently, not to make you feel bad about a car you already own, but to make the trade-off visible so you can make it consciously going forward. The difference in monthly cost between the average new car and a reliable used car paid for in cash, or with a short, modest loan, is typically in the range of $300 to $500 per month. After accounting for the payment itself, higher insurance on a new vehicle versus an older paid-off vehicle, and the absence of depreciation damage on a vehicle that has already taken its steepest drop in value. Let's call that difference $400 per month, a conservative middle estimate. $400 per month invested in a simple index fund earning the stock market's historical average of 7% per year. In 10 years, approximately $68,000 in 20 years, approximately $196,000 in 30 years, approximately $453,000. Almost $500,000. Not from an inheritance. Not from a windfall. From the difference between an average new car payment and a more modest used car, invested consistently every month for 3 decades. This is the opportunity cost of the car payment trap, stated plainly. The car is not just costing you the monthly payment. It is costing you what that monthly payment could have become, compounding quietly in the background, while the car itself was losing 60% of its value in the garage. The car payment trap has one more dimension that deserves clear attention, because it reveals how widespread the stress actually is. 5.2% of outstanding auto debt was at least 90 days late in fourth quarter 2025, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, up 7.7% from Q4 2024. Subprime auto loan delinquencies are now more common than in 32 years. These are not just statistics. Each one of those delinquent loans represents a household where the car payment, that normal, reasonable, everyone-does-it monthly payment, has become something that cannot reliably be made. And unlike a credit card, where a missed payment costs you a fee and a credit score hit, a missed car payment carries an additional consequence. More than 3/4 of Americans rely on their car to get to work. Losing the car does not just mean losing the vehicle. It can mean losing the income that was supposed to pay for it. This is why the car payment trap is more serious than other consumer debt traps. The car is simultaneously the liability and the asset required to service the liability. When it breaks down, so does the whole system. None of this means you cannot buy a car. It means buying one with your eyes open, armed with the numbers rather than the monthly payment figure alone. Buy used 2 to 4 years old. Let someone else absorb the 20% first-year depreciation cliff. A 2-year-old version of a vehicle you want carries most of the original reliability, all of the features, and dramatically less depreciation exposure. The savings on purchase price, combined with lower insurance costs on a used vehicle, are significant. There are a lot of used car options at CarMax. You can find a bunch of cars that would fit in your budget and avoid taking the first-year depreciation hit. Use the 10% rule. Your total monthly car payment should ideally not exceed 10% of your monthly take-home pay. If your take-home is $4,500 per month, your car payment ceiling is $450. Find the car that fits that payment at a reasonable loan term, ideally 36 to 48 months, not 72 to 84. Calculate total cost of ownership before you sign. Add the estimated payment plus insurance plus estimated fuel plus maintenance. That total is your real monthly car cost. Make that decision with the real number, not just the payment. When the loan is paid off, keep driving the car. The single most powerful financial move available to most car owners is driving a paid-off vehicle for several more years after the loan ends, banking what was the car payment into savings or investments, and using that accumulated fund to pay cash or make a large down payment on the next vehicle. As Edmunds puts it, after paying off a car, keep driving that car and bank your previous auto loan payment in a high-yield savings account. That helps avoid lifestyle creep while also building a down payment for your next car. I am a big believer in this one. It feels great not having a car payment for many years. And I tend to drive all of my cars for over 10 years. This is like driving a car for free or living rent-free. Keep this one in your pocket. Avoid rolling negative equity into a new loan. If you are underwater on your current vehicle, the worst possible move is trading it in and rolling the gap into a new loan. You are now starting a new debt cycle already behind. Pay down the current loan to at least even before trading. Totally avoid this one at all cost. There's no reason you should be working for your car. Let's bring this home. Americans collectively owe $1.68 trillion in auto loan debt. The average new car payment is $767 per month, and 1 in 5 new car buyers is paying over $1,000 monthly. Auto loan debt increased 37% between 2018 and 2025, growing almost 4 times faster than inflation over the same period. The car payment is the most normalized financial trap in America. Not because cars are bad, not because borrowing is inherently wrong, but because the monthly payment framing, the 6 to 7 year loan terms, the depreciation nobody mentions, the insurance costs nobody adds up, and the opportunity cost nobody calculates have combined to make a $43,000 purchase feel like a $767 decision, and a $767 decision feel completely reasonable, even when the full math says something very different. You need transportation. The question is whether the transportation you choose is working for your financial life or quietly working against it. One normal, reasonable, everybody-does-it monthly payment at a time. Do the full maths. Buy the car that survives the full maths. Drive it until it does not need to be driven anymore. Everything else is just marketing. Hope you find this video helpful. Hit like and subscribe. See you in the next one.